Hello YouTube. So I want to cover how to keep a non-locking whammy bar in tune. As you can see, vintage style 6-screw whammy bar, non-locking nut, non-locking tuners, and yeah, so as you can see, in tune. Go completely down. Okay, so I'm going to try to cover this as best I can and hopefully describe it in a way that is not confusing, and then hopefully you can get it and understand it. And it's something I've been using for many years, and I've noticed it works on bigsby's 2-post whammy bars that are non-locking, and then the 6-screw, which is my favorite. I like that one over Floyd's even. And yeah, so I'm going to try to explain it as best I can. So most of you probably already have your guitar in your hands ready to go. There's already strings on it, stuff like that, which is fine, but I'm going to try to explain it like, let's say you just put a brand new set of strings on your guitar and you're starting there. So real quick, if you are just putting brand new set of strings on your guitar, put them on, stretch them out real good, pull on the strings, make sure they're all seated really well, make sure it's wrapped nice and good around the tuning post, like as you're tuning it, stop every couple of seconds and use, like I use my thumbnail and I'll pull the string up to get the wraps tighter together so there's no gaps, because once that string finally pulls up into the other string, you go out of tune, the tension changes. So yeah, just make sure you put the new strings on, you stretch them out real good. You got the wraps nice and tight where the strings are butted up against each other right, and then you're ready to go. So let's say you're in tune, everything. Go ahead and hit the bar quite a few times. You'll notice the guitar is way out of tune. Okay, so that's the starting point. You want to start with the low E and work your way up to the high E string. So start with low E, and you'll probably be flat or sharp, depending. And like what you're going to want to do is go small increments. It's a very slight little turn, and you'll notice that won't even make a difference on your tuner when you pluck the string, just that very slight little turn. So what's happening is you're building up tension on this side of the nut, the headstock side, but this side staying relatively the same. So what you want to do is you do your small little turn towards the tuning you need to go, and then hit the whammy bar a few times like that, and then that'll make this small little increment you made take its effect. Like you're getting that good tension all the way through the string now. So like basically it's kind of like sending a text. You type it out, hit send, type it out, hit send, kind of like an example, So once you keep doing that, you'll notice that, okay, now no matter what I do with the whammy bar, that E string stays in tune. Now you move to the A string and do the same thing, and then you're going to repeat the process through all the strings, and essentially they're all going to stay in tune. But some tips that are going to help is don't be going back and forth. No, just do small increments in one direction, hit send, or enter, whatever you want to call it. Like, do that motion to make that tension change take its effect. And like I said, don't be doing back and forth turns. Like let's say you overshoot it, do the whammy bar real quick again, and then do the opposite direction, and then hit the whammy bar again. And you're going to keep doing that until all the strings stay in tune. So you'll notice that all the strings stay in tune when you hit the whammy bar. So then you have that down, so you can do all the... So then you notice you stay in tune with whammy bar usage. Now, this is where the big thing comes in. You'll notice that now that your whammy bar stays in tune like it should, like let's say you do a big string bend, your guitar goes a little bit out of tune or it goes way out of tune. Now the thing is you don't hit the tuners again. You're just going to hit the whammy bar, dive it back down, and you'll go back perfectly in tune. Now there's some ways to help with that. Like let's say you're playing a solo, you do a big bend. You can do a big whammy bar dive at the end of your solo to knock it back into tune. Or you can do what I call is like a ghost dive, where you mute the strings with your left hand and push in real quick and then knock yourself back into tune that way. But the best thing I found for keeping in tune on the bending part of it is having a properly cut nut. Like that's the most important thing. Tuners I've never really found, I mean unless they're super cheap tuners, I could see bringing like tuning instability and stuff like that. The bridge, I've never seen a problem with like bridges being the culprit for tuning instability. It always comes back to the nut, and having properly cut nut slots is like the most important thing. If your nut slots aren't cut, you know, and they're pinching on the sides of the strings, you know, like they're not wide enough, you know, that causes the tension to be higher on this side of the nut and then looser on this side, and then once it finally pings, you know, then the tension's correct, but you just went out of tune. So it's like you want to get that tension even. But the best nuts I've found have always been the, you know, the Graph Tech stuff. But this method that, you know, that I'm showing you guys is will work on any type of nut, but you know, it's good to have properly cut nut slots, you know, graphite powder in the nut slots, or like there's companies like Nut Sauce out there that'll, you know, they got different type of lubricant you can put in there. You know, that helps and works just as good as a Graph Tech nut. And but yeah, I mean, if you got like let's say a Squire Stratocaster or something like that, you know, it comes with a not so well cut plastic nut. This tuning technique will still work. It's just you got to make sure that after you do a bend, of course, guitar cables. But anyways, after you do, and then you could do a ghost dive, get back in tune, or you could do, you know, a whammy bar dive at the end of your solo, get back in tune. And but yeah, you'll notice that string bends will knock you out of tune now. Not the whammy bar anymore. The whammy bar is no longer the issue. So yeah, having a Graph Tech nut will help with the bend part and keeping bends in tune, to where after you do a bend, you can go back into a chord and you're in tune. But yeah, that's pretty much it. You go through your strings one at a time, doing small increments. You know, you start with your guitar in tune like you would normally tune it after string stretching, all that. Hit the whammy bar a few times, knocks everything out of tune. Then you do your strings one at a time in very small increments, small little bit. Hit the whammy bar to make that take effect, you know, because the tension just changed. Even though you made a small little increment, it didn't do anything on the pedal, or on the, I'm sorry, the tuner. Like that small little turn didn't even budge the needle on your tuner, but you hit the whammy bar real quick, then that little tuning increment you made takes effect. So then you just keep doing that until that string stays in tune. And then you just move to the next string, same process, go through all your strings, and then, yeah, you got it. So yeah, I hope that helps. if you have any more questions about it, I'll try to answer them all as best I can in the comment section. Yeah, I mean, it works on bigsby's and any 6-screw or 2-post non-locking trem. Yeah, see, nothing locking here, not even the tuners. And but another thing before I get off, I want to say this. It really does help to have the whammy bar resting on the body, so that way you have even more tuning stability. Because like floating, you'll notice that when you do a dive and it tries to go back to that exact floating position, all the strings are flat. And then if you pull back on it and let it try to go back to that same position, it's not in that same position, and all the strings are sharp. So I always keep them completely flat up on the body. So, and if you notice your guitar isn't allowing the whammy bar to go all the way back to the body, it's probably the screws are too tight. The mounting screws up here in front of the bridge, those will probably be too tight. You just got to back them off a bit so they can fall back and rest on it. Yeah, I think that's everything covered. Yeah, give it a shot. I mean, you really don't have to do any modification to make this work for you. It's just doing that tuning technique like I was talking about, and using that. And then if you are having a lot of problems with string bends knocking it out of tune, just hit the whammy bar real quick, like end a solo with a whammy bar dive, or do a ghost dive where you mute the strings and hit it real quick and then knock yourself back into tune. And then if that's really driving you nuts, then upgrade to the Graph Tech nut, or just take it to a luthier and have the nut slots widened a bit, and then start using like different types of lubrication, whether it be graphite powder or like nut sauce or companies like that, and put that in the nut there as well. But yeah, ever since I've figured this way of doing it out, I've completely gotten away from Floyd roses, and the doing Floyds are such a pain in the neck. Doing intonation is so much harder on those as opposed to one of these. String changes, I can do string changes really fast on one of these, and since I've been doing this tuning technique for as long as I've been doing it, I can actually get really quick at doing the whole technique I just explained to you. Like, I can actually get through it pretty fast. So yeah, hopefully this is the video I've been wanting to do, and hopefully I'm happy with it and you're happy with it. And yeah, give it a shot. It doesn't hurt nothing. And yeah, maybe you don't need to do that Floyd Rose upgrade on your guitar. Maybe this is exactly what you want. So yeah, give it a shot. In the comments, tell me what you think. And yeah, have fun playing, guys.